ado, we are in the studios of Rush Limbaugh. First, I want to congratulate you. 30 years, talk radio, the king of talk radio, and going stronger than ever.
It's amazing. It really is. You know, I'm enjoying it as much as I ever have, if not more so. I get more thrills from it. I get more satisfaction from it than I've ever had. If you would have told me 30 years ago, or even 40, when I was dreaming of all this, that by the time I reached 65, that it would be more competitive than ever, that I would be more involved than ever. I thought 65, well, you got left to prove. You phone it in, you take it easy, you go to the beach, do a couple hours a week, and that's it, like Johnny Carson did. I can't imagine not doing this. And I think largely because of you, as you just laid out, we are seriously at a tipping point. I don't know, I worry, I don't know how many people actually are aware of how close we are to losing our country as founded. There's always going to be in America, but what is it going to be? And it really is at stake. And I've been trying in I don't know how many ways to explain to my audience why it's different now than it was 15 years ago or 20. And I do it by trying to analyze who the left is, what they have become. I'm naive in many ways. And
I might take a little objection to Rush being naive.
You tell me if this is naive. Yeah. I look at what happened during the Kavanaugh hearings. You just described Ricin and the stuff to Susan Collins. We looked at the literal mob behavior that was inspired, bought and paid for by the Democrat Party. The media encourages it. In my naive world, that behavior would secure the biggest landslide defeat a political party has ever had. In a sane world where decent people are the majority, that would be rejected out of hand. It wouldn't even be considered relevant. And the people of this country would want to get rid of that as quickly as they could. But yet, it may be close to 50% of the country. I don't think it is, and I hope not. But the fact that it continues to survive, I've evolved a bunch of theories to explain it. And I really think, by the way, interrupt any time with a question.
No, I don't. You're doing great, Rush.
I really think that all of this, or the vast majority of it, still, Sean, revolves around one of the age-old arguments that left versus right has had, and that is role of government in our lives. Now, the people on the left, I read some of it, Jim Garrity at National Review about a month ago now, and it just struck me because I think it's dead on. I'm going to paraphrase what he said. He said what has happened in his view, and I endorse this, I think, even more than he did. I think it's a bigger point than he made it. These people on the left that you've described, the mob behavior, is really a series of psychological disorders that have taken over politics. We have politicized psychological disorders to the point now that they have become the objective of the Democrat Party, solving all of these disparate, separate psychological disorders, having the government do it, basically determine outcomes and get even with oppressors, the founding majority of the country. That's what we're dealing with. And if we don't define this properly, we're never going to be able to oppose it. If we consider this stuff legit, which it isn't. That kind of behavior is not legitimate. We don't want a country based on that kind of, we don't want people winning elections based on mobs and violence. We don't want, think if that happens, if they win the election based on this kind of behavior.
Get more of it.
Exactly right.
But here's what we got.
What do decent people do? Decent people do not spend all day trying to figure out how to battle this. Decent people are living their lives. We've got perversion, indecency, corruption up against what used to be called normalcy.
You got Hillary Clinton. We can't be civil unless you give us power back. Eric Holder, well, they go low, we kick them.
Right.
Maxine Waters, if you see them, create a crowd. You know, go tell them, follow them into department stores and grocery stores and gas stations. You're not wanted anywhere anymore. And we saw Pam Bondi and Secretary Nielsen, and we saw Sarah Sanders, Ted Cruz and his wife Heidi, Mitch McConnell. I think Rand is right. Somebody's going to get hurt here in the end. Because look, I blame the people for their actions, but there's certainly marching orders here. Confront, attack, get in their faces.
All of it is marching orders.
Yeah.
All of it is bought and paid for. Look at this caravan. Suppose that, where is it? Honduras, Guatemala, wherever it's coming. Doesn't matter where it's coming. Somebody's paying for this. Where are these people going to the bathroom? Who's feeding them? I mean, you look at 2,000, 4,000 people. Kids, and that's the magic. They put the children in there, and we must accept them. We can't turn them away. Oh, it's so horrible. Trump is separating. It's all designed, and it's all designed to flood the zone during the election. We've got this. We've got worried about the Fed raising interest rates to try to jam down the economy. And way over there, guess what just happened? Robert Mueller is letting it know that he's about ready to submit his report. Well, Justice Department rules and guidelines say that they should not do anything to impact the results of an election. But that didn't Comey didn't he? He was doing everything he could to help Hillary. People don't understand this, but that's what he was doing. They had to have her. So these things are all planned, and they're all getting focused leading up to the election. People ask me, Rush, what can I do? I want to do more than vote. Right now, that is the answer. Right? I mean, I know people think their vote's not enough, but it is. Turnout is everything. And the left, this is almost an identical scenario to 2016. They think, Sean, they really do. And some of this is hope, but they think a lot of Americans who voted for Trump regret it. A lot of people can't wait to get out there and show and apologize for their mistake of voting for Trump. They can't wait to go out there and apologize to the Democrat Party. The fact of the matter is, since Barack Obama, the Democrat Party has been losing elections. Starting in 2010, midterms, Tea Party, all the way up to 2016, the Democrat Party has lost 1,200 seats. National, state, local, if you count all the way down to dog catcher. They've lost it. They have the least amount of electoral political power in Washington since the 20s. Where is this blue wave? Where's the evidence that people can't wait to vote Democrat? The evidence is that they're doing the exact opposite. Trump is out there continuing to do the things he did that won him the election in 2016, all of these rallies. And they have been unable to get rid of him. They've thrown everything at Trump that usually gets rid of Republican opponents, and nothing has worked. And they're just frustrated as they can be. And I think they're so overplaying this, and they're going way beyond the bounds of anywhere near propriety. But they think most Americans want to be encouraged to do mob-like behavior, get in people's faces. I don't think we've lost the country to the extent that that wins elections.
How big an impact Kavanaugh? Because we're talking, Kavanaugh was, to me, was a tipping point because they were exposed. It didn't, look, I think most people fundamentally believe in the rule of law, the Constitution, due process, presumption of innocence. There was none of that. It was accusation, I believe it.
Yeah, let me tell you how close they were to getting away with it, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I watch this from a different perspective than I think a lot of people. Sadly, there are still a lot of people that only get their news from what we call the mainstream media. If President Trump had not, at that rally, exposed Christine...
No corroboration.
None. The four people she says were there, no, we weren't. She didn't know what, where, when, why. So Trump tells people this. And they get mad at Trump for mocking her. Trump didn't mock her. To mock her, you'd have to impersonate her, which I can do, but I will not. Here,
you're showing great restraint.
Great restraint. He didn't mock her. He exposed her to a bunch of Americans who didn't know because the mainstream media had not reported all of the holes in her story. So Trump does. And then in getting Trump, they end up reporting what Trump said. That was the tipping point, plus what Kavanaugh did to save himself. But you're right. Presumption of innocence gone. They were close to killing that by intimidating Republicans on that committee. But it didn't work again because I believe the president came in and saved the day.
Look, I don't have a crystal ball. I always thought and believed in my heart the media is wrong, Trump could win. You could see it, you could feel it. I don't know who was going to run against Obama in 2008. You saw the crowds, you saw the enthusiasm. In that case, I think it was a lot of hype and no change, typical left-wing policies. You predicted, to me, it would fail, and it did fail. But something is different. President Trump, you could see a building momentum. And now we've got these midterms. I'm looking at, Florida, they could pick up a Senate seat. I think you could pick one up in Missouri. I think you'll hold Nevada. I think you'll win in Arizona, North Dakota. Indiana, all potential pickups. Where I would worry about more is the House. I don't have a feel.
Well,
How that's
it's hard. There's so many seats there, and there's so many variables and vagaries when you get to. But let's look at this in the macro way. Let's compare this. You want to go back to 2008? Let's go back to 2016. I know you were early on very confident Trump was going to win. I thought, my staff here will tell you, that 2 days, when I first saw the first polling after Trump and Melania down the escalator, I said, he's the nominee. Going to happen. I felt it. You know why? Because I know the bond. I saw those rallies. I saw the bond that Trump had with his voters. The media didn't create that. He did. You know, I did versions of that when my show started, traveling around 48 weekends a year for the first 2 years, trying to get my radio show established. And I saw a similar success track. And nobody can blow up that bond that Trump voters have. The Washington establishment to this day does not understand Donald Trump. They don't understand his voters, and they're not curious to find out why. They just resent it. And they are still operating under the same rules they operated under 2016. The parallels are identical here. They think in 2016 Hillary's going to win. Massive landslide. They're measuring the curtains. Hillary's planning all these things. The deep state guys back then are confident nobody's going to ever know what they did. Their jobs and their careers are going to be safe. Strzok, Stroke, Smirk, and all these clowns, McCabe, safe. Then Trump comes along and wins. They're shocked. They're stunned. They couldn't believe it. Same thing now. They think they've won the House a month ago. It's in the can. They're just waiting for the calendar and the days to go by when all of their own polling data shows this so-called generic ballot blue wave shrinking and shrinking.
Dramatically.
Now you find less confidence in all of the reporting about the blue wave. So now we've got the caravan. They tried Capitol. Look at all these October surprises. Feinstein tried one. Pocahontas. Elizabeth Warren. How about this, folks? We used to be judged by the content of our character. Now it's the content of our DNA. Is that what the Democrat Party... How about bastardizing Martin Luther King? She bombs out. Feinstein bombs out.
Right.
And so all these all four were attempted, that were purposed to blow Trump up, and he just keeps beating them back, and they don't know how to deal with it. They get more and more frustrated, more and more angry, and that's what we're seeing.
Some nights at the end of the show, we'll take a clip from your Ditto Cam and run it, kind of the kicker to the show. My audience loves to see you, and thanks for doing the show. They love having you, as do I. What if they win? What if the Democrats win?
That's the most...
you love that question.
Well, the problem here is I'm on television, and I'm really trying to be persuasive. I don't want to dramatize it, and I don't want to lie to people, and I don't want to fill people with phony, manipulative, emotional things. But it might serve to answer that question, to go back and what if Hillary had won in 2016? Stop and think of that. There wouldn't be a roaring economy. There wouldn't have been any tax cuts. There wouldn't have been any rollback of regulations. There wouldn't have been any squaring of a deal with NATO. There wouldn't have been any redone trade deals. The Obama administration told the American people, get used to it. There's a new American economy, and it's flatline or in decline. America's past, we didn't really deserve that. America was founded by a white patriarchy, set itself up for itself, people discriminated against, but those days are over. So now the days behind us, we didn't deserve those anyway. We don't deserve to be a superpower. So we had a flatline economy. We were told, Obama's out there in Indiana telling these people their jobs are never coming back. And somebody in the audience, well, Mr. Trump says he can bring them. And Obama says, what's he going to do? Wave a magic wand? Look what happened. We got the jobs back. It can be done. They don't even want to make America great. They resent the whole idea of America becoming great. They resent the idea of America as a superpower running the world for good. We're the good guys. They don't think so.
If investigation.
But wait, we'll get. If he hadn't won, Sean, I shudder to think, with Hillary Clinton in the White House and all of her cronies and all the cabinet positions, and the validation of all of these oddball, weird, perverted left-wing behaviors becoming more and more normalized, and politics and government's role being to address their grievances, and we've become a country of nothing but a bunch of victims, constantly angry, demanding that somebody do something about it, instead of all of us, as we used to do, using self-reliance and our own initiative and our guts and handling life ourselves.
Stay there. We'll take a break. We're just getting things started.
Not moving.
No. We'll continue. More with Rush Limbaugh. With us for the full hour. We're at his Southern Command headquarters, EIB Network. Please stay with us. All right, as we continue, Southern Command, Rush Limbaugh, EIB headquarters. This is it. This is where you do your show.
It really is.
Every day.
There's an ordinance down here in Palm Beach. You cannot work from your home.
Yeah.
And so, which is fine. I need to get, but it is the case. So we built this, and it's like a living room, home, office. Okay, but can I do one thing personal? Every time I'm on your show, people ask me what this is. I get emails. What is this?
Right. Your cochlear implant.
Well, yeah, it's a direct line to the West Wing, is what it is. No, these are cochlear implants. I'm deaf. I'm 100% deaf, and I can only hear bionically with these. Very quickly, human ear has 35,000 hair cells each. They determine the frequency and the sensitivity of the human hearing. I don't have any. Mine are dead. They laid down and died. Autoimmune. So I have 8 man-made biological electrodes, or bionic electrodes, that try to do what 35,000 hair cells do. And it's a miraculous thing. If this had happened, if I'd lost my hearing 15 years before I did, it'd been the end of my career because the tech hadn't been invented. So it's really fortunate, and I look at it as something to be extremely grateful.
I remember in that interim time, not to get too distracted, we got a lot to talk about, and I do radio as you do. I do not know how it's possible, because like most people in radio, DJs, talk shows, I'm cranking that thing up.
Yeah.
And dramatic hearing loss, after 30 years.
I did 3 months totally deaf. I couldn't get surgery done because I had an infection. So 3 months. So you rely on how your voice feels.
Right.
And you have to consciously tell yourself, when you can't hear, you speak up.
Right. So
you have to tell yourself not to. I asked the doctors, if I don't do this, can I speak normally for the rest of my life? He said, no, you will, if you can't hear yourself speak, you'll end up sounding like somebody who's never heard before. So you've got to do the implants. But that's what they are. And they really were a career saver.
Thank God. You're still here, going strong, 30th anniversary, which was a big deal. For those of us that followed behind you, it's a big deal because you did forge a path for all of us. And we all owe you a debt of gratitude. Well, that's why really I wanted to be here. Explain the Trump phenomenon. Maybe we have a more unique perspective because we both knew him way before he ever thought about running.
Right. Well, I don't think it's hard to understand the Trump phenomenon at all if you are not poisoned, and I use the word like it's kind of an exaggeration, if you're not affected by inside the Beltway or Washington establishment thinking, understanding Trump's easy. It's elite versus real people. It's somebody that is fearless and willing to fight against the things that no Republican has been willing to fight against or defend. He's got an engaging personality. He doesn't offend people. The left thinks he does because they act offended, but Trump just makes people laugh. Mm-hmm. They can't get over the fact that he's likable because they hate him. They despise him. I saw something I never. Are we allowed to mention competing cable networks? Because you dominate everything. They're just a bunch of cellar dweller pretender. Little Brian Stelter over on CNN.
Humpty Dumpty.
Is that what you call it?
That's what I call it.
Actually, he's actually been somewhat nice to me. There are exceptions to it. But complaining that the president's talking too much. The president is in the media too much. I said, these guys demand and pray access. And you know why? Because he's polluting the air. He's lying, he's distorting, and he's not giving us enough time to catch up with him and to correct him. And I just keep going, President Trump. He's dominating these people. He's frustrating them. They've lost their monopoly. The Elizabeth Warren thing, the Pocahontas, proves they can't shape public opinion anymore via narrative. And they are frustrated as they can be about that.
He doesn't need them.
No. And part of the process, part of what's going on here, I believe, in all of this I do call it abnormality. We're up against psychological disorder abnormality that is disguised as political issues.
And we talk about the media. It's never been this abusively biased.
Well, it's not even biased. Well, we're so far beyond bias. These people are part of the agenda. I think they run it. I think they are the people that orchestrate it, run it. In fact, even give some marching orders to each other. The point is, Trump has just got them bamboozled, and I think part and parcel of what they're doing is trying to demonstrate to themselves they still have the power to shape public opinion via narrative. And it's causing all these people left to get even more and more and more extreme. And I'm just relying on the fact that average, ordinary Americans, like you and I are as repulsed as you and I are by this behavior that they are engaging in, the demands they are making on decent, God-fearing, America-loving people. We are not the problem. And yet we are portrayed as the problem. We're the enemy to these people. It's really scary. What happens if we lose? Go back and look. If we lose in 2016, if they get the House, folks, I'm just going to tell you, whatever Trump wants to do is going to stop. It's going to be paralyzed. It's going to be nothing but, in every House committee that's relevant, inspections, investigations, subpoenas. They're going to go back and try to get Kavanaugh thrown out. It's going to be nothing but 2 years of get even with Trump for having the audacity to win. And the business of the nation is going to be brought to a screeching halt. In the meantime, they're going to try to get rid of the tax cuts. They're not going to succeed at any of this because the Senate is still going to be in the hands of Mitch McConnell. I affectionately call him the turtle. You know, he moves so slow, but he's speeding up now. He's really getting good.
He had a good run there for
but
a week.
In the judicial.
He did, no, on Gorsuch and on Kavanaugh, he was great.
But I still think Trump, that's in whom I have, in terms of the politics of this, I still have implicit trust. I think Trump knows what he's doing.
Here's my question. We've had all this success in 2 years. Obama, economically, first president, never met 3% GDP growth in history.
Didn't want to. Well, this is the key.
Didn't
want. America doesn't deserve that.
Yeah.
America is so oppressive, so mean to minorities. So America doesn't deserve superpower status. This is why I wanted Obama to fail. In his view, and the Alinsky view, and the American left's view, America is flawed. America is the problem in the world. America doesn't deserve its wealth.
The apologies.
Right.
But economically, 13 million more Americans on food stamps, 8 million more in poverty. Okay.
That's good. That means more people voting Democrat, more people depending on government. They want that, Sean.
We have 14 states, record low unemployment. We have lowest unemployment since 69. 1 million more jobs than people on unemployment.
Right.
Look at who's benefiting. African-American unemployment, lowest ever. Hispanic unemployment, Asian unemployment, women in the workplace unemployment. All of this success, you're saying, stops if they get the House.
Let me ask you a simple question. Why? You heard him just go through these statistics, the facts of the economic advancement. We've got more jobs than there are job openings.
1 million.
We got 1 million more jobs than there are openings. That hasn't happened since 2017. Who was president then? Wasn't Obama. The things you just heard Sean go through, the Democrats are angry at all of it. Why aren't they happy? Folks, we are in a roaring economy. More people than ever can get the job they want. They're getting raises. They're being bonused. We have people free to start their own businesses. The economy and every other aspect of life in America is on the upswing. And a political party and its voters are mad about it. Why? Why couldn't you be happy? The answer is very simple. If it happens as a result of individual aptitude and application instead of government making it happen, they're going to oppose it. This is the greatest threat, economic activity, economic growth, self-sufficiency, self-reliance, people learning that the old rules of working hard and applying yourself pay off, biggest threat to the American left and the Democrat Party that there could be.
Let me ask you this.
Why aren't they happy about this? I mean, everybody ought to be...
Because they lose their power.
Well, of course.
Here's what I want to
question
ask.
Answers itself.
You have been a leader in the conservative movement in America.
I don't know. I don't know.
Number one in
the conservative
that have with your audience sustained and bigger.
Conservative movement is led by never-Trumpers.
Oh, well, okay.
In their minds,
if they had their way, where would we be? Not here.
Hillary would be president if they had their way.
So here's my question. You knew William F. Buckley. If you believe Goldwater was a wave, if you believe Reagan was a wave, meaning the advancement of conservatism, if you believe Newton, a contract, was a wave,
right?
Where does Donald Trump, I look at his policies. I've always been a conservative, never changed my views. Might say it differently, new circumstances,
right,
but my fundamental core beliefs have never changed, nor have yours. All these people that said he's not a conservative, where? Like besides trade, and I don't even think trade, he never planned a trade war.
He is implementing.
Yeah.
Look, I know these people. I got to know them 30 years ago when this all started.
William F. Buckley loved you.
Buckley, well, I'll tell you a story about him and where he would be. I thought you were going to ask me where he would be on Trump, but the answer to that I think is pretty simple. But they don't like Trump because of his manners. Trump is implementing issues that these people have devoted their lives to seeing passed, and they oppose it, and they're running away from it. It must never have been about the issues. It must be about the proper appointment and the proper manners and making sure we don't offend our liberal friends in Washington and so forth and all that. So Trump does all of that. Oh, I can't abide this. Ooh, this is so offensive to me. I can't do this. I don't think yuck. And so meanwhile, everything that's happening is making America great exactly as conservatives said it would, and they don't want to be on the bus?
I say, and I say this to people, and they say, what? He governs as strong a conservative as we've seen in our lifetime.
Yeah, he does. But I don't think the divide in America is left and right so much. I know it's still there.
Conservative principles.
Conservative principles. It's
judges, tax cuts, regulations, border security. Right. Peace through strength.
It's what kind of a country? The traditions of the founding are we going to go Marxist leftist? I mean, that's what this is about. We don't have any in common with them, Sean. I hear all these people still say we need to cross the aisle, show we can cooperate, show that we can show that government. What do we have in common? Name something we have in common with any of the people acting to destroy Kavanaugh. Where is the middle ground to compromise with them on Kavanaugh? They didn't even want to allow him due process.
Zero. And no corroboration.
They wanted
None.
to destroy his life and his family, his career, his past, his future. And they tell us they are the party of compassion.
We've seen
tolerance.
this before. We've seen it Bork, Clarence Thomas.
We see it every day.
And every election here.
We see it every day.
Now every day.
Donald Trump. I'm sure you've taken your hits. You've taken your hits with these people. Yeah. We see it every day. Anybody that they determine is an effective messenger of anything they disagree with, they're going to target.
We could do 10 hours, except you'd have to start getting paid. Rush is going to hate a question I'm going to ask him in a few minutes. He's going to hate me and never let me back in the studios. But we'll get to that. Much more with Rush right after this. All right, welcome back to Hannity. We are coming to you live from EIB Southern Command. That means Rush Limbaugh is our guest for the full hour. I never thought in my lifetime. My mother was a prison guard. My dad was a family court probation. Irish family, Rush. We had a lot of NYPD cops.
Right. 2
guys were deity, FBI in my family. I never thought FBI top officials, the people we give the powerful tools of intelligence to, would turn not only on the American people, lies would be told, FISA court frauds would be taken, they'd exonerate somebody that we know was guilty, but then use those tools and her bought and paid for Russian information to destroy the president that should have lost, according to Peter Strzok, 100 million to 0.
Right.
Did you ever think you'd see that?
Well, honestly, no. I have the same attitude about law enforcement in general.
Yeah.
You did, and I've gotten to know some top-tier FBI people over the course of my life who themselves now are appalled by this. The scope of this, you described this perfectly. The scope of this, when you stop and think of what happened here, that the top tier of the Obama Department of Justice, do not leave him out of this, and everybody there, all these people, Strzok and Lisa Page and McCabe, Bruce Orr, all the Comey, this was a concerted effort to deny Donald Trump the presidency. They had to get Hillary exonerated first. That's why they looked the other way in the email scandal and in the survey. They had to get her elected. That would save their jobs, save their careers, and we wouldn't know any of this that we know had she been elected. They got scared when they saw that Trump was not going to be defeated in a landslide. The very process of using government, the intelligence agencies, this is another thing. For people to have seen this, how anybody can vote for Democrats after seeing what has happened here. The one person that really meddled with the Russians, the one person that really colluded, the one person that really rigged an election, none other than Madam Hillary.
What an irony.
I mean, it's stunning here, and Trump hasn't done zilch, and Mueller has been looking. He got no limits on money or scope. He's been looking for 2 years. Zero.
Doesn't exist, but it did exist. Imagine this. Well, first, there was no bigger obstruction case. If Rush Limbaugh had subpoenaed your computers and your emails and you deleted them, you acid wash your hard drive with bleach bit, you have somebody that works here for you busting up your devices with hammers, I promise you, you would have gone to jail.
Oh, easily.
Easily. Slam dunk case of obstruction. Exoneration written in May.
For far less than that dealing with the FBI.
Right.
But they had to exonerate her, Sean. I mean, she was the Democrat nominee. She was the one guaranteeing their positions and their careers by virtue of her winning. They had to exonerate her. They could not, on July 5th with Comey or in late October, they could not convict her or even charge her with anything. They didn't want to affect the outcome of an election, don't you know, while they're in the midst of literally doing that very thing. But it's stunning. Hillary Clinton cheats. Hillary Clinton, Glenn Simpson, Fusion GPS, Perkins Coie, Michael Steele, Christopher Steele, the whole thing is designed opposition research. They create this document, and it's turned over as legitimate intelligence to the FISA court. They may have been on it too. I haven't seen a lot of anger coming out of them. And it's used to destroy Donald Trump and his campaign, then his transition, then his presidency, much like they tried to destroy Kavanaugh. And it cannot triumph. It simply cannot be allowed to triumph.
If it's allowed, we have a dual justice system.
We already do.
We already do.
We have a two-tier justice system.
Just like we have a one-tier tax system where, you know, the top 20% pretty much pay the whole bill. Let me ask you about this Khashoggi. You saw Tom Friedman today.
Yeah. Well, Friedman made a good point about this, and you got to acknowledge good points when they're made. I think this is a precarious time for the Trump administration because the left is trying to use this Khashoggi death, tie it to Trump. They're trying to get Trump and blame for everything.
If he cured cancer, Rush, they would still be mad at him.
for destroying the livelihood of how many people in the medical
They find a reason.
The thing about Mohammed bin Salman, the thing that he was doing that had everybody really excited, the important thing he was doing was supposedly reforming militant Islam. He was getting rid of the Wahhabi influence, which is where terrorist Islam comes from. The Saudi royal family is Islam. They're in charge of Mecca and Medina. They determine what Islam is going to be. If it's going to be terrorist Islam, Wahhabi Islam, the royal family makes it happen. Well, bin Salman's tired of being dependent on petrodollars. He wants all this investment from Hollywood and tech, wants to build a new city. And in the process, he's got to reform, make it look like he let women drive. He's going to get rid of violent militant Islam, de-emphasize Wahhabi. And that's all good. That's probably one of the most important things the Saudi royal family can do for the world is to de-emphasize the militant aspects of Islam. Then this Khashoggi thing comes along, and it looks like there isn't any real reform. You criticize the state, and they kill you, so forth. I hope Trump and his team do the right thing on this because they're laying in wait. If he goes too far in what they think is exonerating the Saudis for oil deals or business deals or arms deals that are important to America.
Didn't the Clintons take $25 million from the Saudis for their foundation?
Oh, absolutely. It's a two-way street.
Where was the Benghazi outrage?
Exactly.
Except for conservatives.
I asked that the other day. Yeah. Where's all the concern for 4 dead Americans in Benghazi? But I just want to tell you one thing here, folks. They're trying to tell you that there is recorded evidence of the murder and the dismemberment and the dispatchment of the body. because it was recorded on his Apple Watch, Khashoggi's Apple. I'm here to tell you that is not technologically possible. There are three ways a watch can transmit data: LTE, which is cellular, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi. Apple has not activated LTE in Turkey. That's the longest range. The only way this guy had to transmit data from his watch to his phone would be Bluetooth. His car, his wife's out in the fiance. It really, I don't think it's possible for there to be a recording of what happened.
We got to take a break. The question you're going to hate, number one, and you're.
I've never hated a question. I've resented some because I'm stupid, but I've
great. He's already accused my question of being stupid.
Drive-bys of being stupid.
It might be
uninformed, stupid.
But I think an important one, and your prediction for 19 days.
Oh, okay.
More with Rush Limbaugh as we continue. His Southern Command, EIB headquarters. Rush for the full hour. All right, as we continue with Rush Limbaugh. So the first question you're going to hate. I was here last time.
Yeah.
I try never to bug you. You don't like TV. You love this. It is a golden mic. We'll get a shot of it behind you. Your radio audience is bigger, more massive today than it's ever been because of all the options and ways people can look.
It is amazing, too. That's true.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, I said, Rush, do an hour a month on TV. Just you, in the studio. Do an hour every other week. Do one every quarter. You think I'm a pain in the ass. You can say it.
No. I'm flattered. I'm flattered. I just, I've been there. I've done
1 hour a month.
1 hour. But look at, there's already a controversy. Something I said earlier has already been wiped.
Clean.
You will never know, folks, because it's not deemed appropriate. It was not profanity. It was not offensive, but it has been wiped.
I'll never hear the end of this now, ever.
No, that's good. People, what was it?
They're going to want to know. What was it?
And the outtakes will show up somewhere.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
Somebody at Fox will. Sean.
I got it. It's happening. Here's my next thing.
Yeah.
Look, I look at 19 days. I'm thinking, my gut, heart, mind, soul. I want to win. I'm not sick of winning, and I think we're going to pick up some big seats in the Senate, hoping on the House. Two-part question: predictions, and what do you say to people that so respect what you have to say about this election in 19 days?
I still say that I think there are things that have yet to happen that are going to determine outcomes in some races that we don't know. So it's still very hard to predict. Kavanaugh feedback reaction was 100% positive for Republicans. And Democrats really blew that. But there's 435 of these things. I don't know. I just rely on hope, which is, again, naive. I don't have survey data. I don't trust it. It hasn't been right consistently enough for me. The people doing these surveys desperately want Trump gone. I don't know how they can take that out of their work. I don't believe in pure objectivity, so I distrust.
If I put you on the spot, prediction.
But we hold the House and we increase the Senate. And because I think that's justice. I think that's just. I think the Democrat Party deserves to lose in the single biggest electoral landslide defeat in my lifetime because of the actions they've taken just in the last month.
Maybe an hour a quarter.
I've never stopped thinking about it. I'll think about it.
You'll think about it.
We can do it right here. We can do it
right here.
We can do it right here.
All right. Great to see you. Thank you so much. Rush Limbaugh. All right. We'll wrap things up from Rush's studio when we come back.
I thank you. God bless you, and may he continue to bless the nation that has showered this land with love for more than 2 centuries. Thank you all. God bless you all.